I definitely want to see this.
Before we start this video, we just want to take a moment to say thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. It's so important to take care of your mental health. And for me personally, I've struggled with everything from anxiety to even depression. I personally sought out BetterHelp to talk about a lot of my issues and the things I was struggling with. Enjoy.
The original Spider-Man were not good. Like, I grew up watching those.
Bro, she said Tobey Maguire, bro. Tell me he's not good. Grew up watching that, like, bro. And Andrew Garfield. Tell me what?
And I was
Dude, that's so annoying.
No. Yeah, Toby.
What?
I didn't know.
Right, dude? Everyone's like, what the fuck? There's no shot.
I look back at my fandom since I mixed, they know what DC's biggest. I look back at my fandom since I was tiny. The biggest impact I think for me has been Batman. When people really know comics, they know what DC's bringing to the table.
I can see how they can defend like their video games and their comics, but I don't know how they're gonna back up the movies.
No shade, but their movies aren't that great.
Ultimately, you see a very cookie-cutter pattern.
It's because of the fucking directors, bro. Like, we need better directors. Like Zack Snyder's really good. Kevin Feige for freaking Marvel films, he's like insanely good.
How Marvel makes their films versus DC, which is super gritty, super dark.
I will die on a hill of really apologizing and loving some of these new movies more than most people should.
I think my only expectation really is to kind of understand, where the other side's coming from. How do they connect with someone like Superman, who to me has the personality of a brick?
I mean, he has a fair
My
point
name
there
is Ryan.
about
I'm
Superman.
a philosophy major at university. I studied art history as well. The more I think about it, those things tie in a lot for the reason why I love comics so much.
Hey, I'm Will. I'm a lifelong, I would say comic book fan, but really DC homer, as my friend would call me. Apologist, some would say, to a certain degree.
I'm Matt, and I am as well a DC guy. I'm actually trying to get into voice acting, voiceover. Like watching all these animated shows and whatnot, it's really inspiring to see all these characters come to life through voice and whatnot, so that's what I'm trying to do.
Hi, I'm Sarah. Marvel's pretty much always been like my favorite genre of movies. I love watching all the movies. I really love cinematography and I love how they're always played out. So yeah, I'm a Marvel fan.
I'm Nick, and I like Marvel so much that I bought a 3D printer and started printing a bunch of props for it. So I've got a 4-foot Stormbreaker sitting in my room, not doing anything.
I'm Chris. I'm a Marvel fan. I wish I could say super fan. Just within the recent years, I've been getting like deep and deeper into it. So there's some things I may not know about, but I'm cultured around the area, so I can get around.
Marvel is only considered better because of the movies.
I would say yes, because some of their comics aren't actually good. Like the Captain America comics, those trilogies aren't even that good.
Walk forward if you agree.
Unless they're comic book fanatics, I don't hear anybody talking about the comics, let alone the shows, even the games or anything. I only hear the movies.
Thank you for being the only one here, by the way. Because it is challenging, I think, right now to be a DC fan because of that feeling. Socially, the conversation is Marvel. Oh, yeah. So extremely that every time DC puts out a movie, it's like almost expected that you're supposed to shit on it.
Right.
Because it's not as good. They did it wrong. Now, have they stumbled along the way? Tons of times. But I get this feeling that no one's entering into seeing a DC movie to just be vulnerable and experience what they're being given.
And it's recency bias, right? Because Christopher Reeve with Superman launched, but then you also think about the Batmans with Michael Keaton, right? And Jack Nicholson, and then even Batman Forever with Val Kilmer. Maybe not so much after that, but there was no Marvel movies at the time.
The Dark Knight kind of faded into the background when people talk about DC movies. And it's like, those were great films.
Awesome.
I mean, we don't have the Marvel Cinematic Universe, in my opinion, without Batman Begins.
All right, disagreeers, come forward.
I'm still on your side, you guys.
Did you forget we were here? The movies, the TV shows, the video games, the comic books, the books, when you oversimplify it to one aspect, you're immediately erasing thousands of people's hard work and not giving them the credit that they deserve as they add to the rest of the brand.
I guess I'm thinking, could you argue that simply because of the MCU, more people care. It used to be that to be a nerd. So now that the MCU exists, I'm like, oh, now.
But that Matthias one, like, what the, like that Matthias one was like, what the fuck? She had a fucking bullet hole in her head, dude. Saying let her live. That's
Now
kind
you
of,
want to say it's
yeah, that's
cool.
off-putting.
Okay,
That's a way off-putting,
I
bro.
do believe some of the comics do better than some of the Marvel stuff that is out. Like with all the Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man were not good. Like I grew up watching those and I was not a huge fan.
Wait, the 90s?
No. Yeah, Toby.
What?
I did not.
He's worse than Andrew Garfield?
I see those movies as like corny perfection. It's like
But it's
absolute
corny, like you
cheese.
said, it's corny.
Right, I love that.
He didn't give me that representation. I'm an awkward teen. He was like a very just dark and like brooding, like more DC. He just was very not awkward, how I wanted to see Peter.
No, she's talking about the last movie, like Spider-Man. I think it was the Venom one, where where he was like being like a badass, I guess, and like acting all confident and shit. But like the first two were like really good. The-
Parker.
You're telling me that Spider-Man 3 dance wasn't awkward to you?
The
Your
finger
generation,
pointing.
especially now, you can see that you guys don't really like the dark, gritty. Because right now,
Everyone
everything that's
wants.
going on
Everyone
right now,
just wants happy stories.
yeah, everything that's going on right now, you don't want to see even darker.
I want
shittier
depression
things. You wanna see-
personified.
Yeah, whimsical, yeah, exactly.
I think DC kind of shows people like what they already see in humanity. They're like, wow, are our cities actually like this? Like, is this actually happening? I feel like people kind of get scared and they're like, yeah, I don't want to deal with that.
Our characters are more relatable.
Let's run real quick. It's just the fact that, especially like me growing up, that I could just look at like these different heroes. Like I was like, I'm not built like no Captain America, but I can relate to him in the heart. It's what
Yeah.
matters. And so I'm just like, just seeing every character. I'm like, oh, wait, that's me. Oh, wait, that could be me. Oh, that could be me. And I'm just like, I've just experienced that with Marvel. And that's how I was just like, let me just run up in here real quick.
Peter Parker and his anxiety. It's so relatable as a teenager and seeing another teenager get all these superpowers and he's like, I'm just a kid. Like, I'm just trying to go to school. Like, I need a break.
It's kind of a
Yeah, I
combination
relate to
between
that.
the comics, the TV shows, the MCU in total. When you humanize a character first and then introduce their abilities, you not only give the audience time to relate to them and attach themselves to the character, but you give them an opportunity to see them superpower,
Yeah.
amazingness. Things like that, just make Marvel just a bit more relatable to me.
Welcome.
There is an element to DC that I get, that they are unrelatable. Superman really is the most obvious, because he's overpowered from another planet, all these things. But at the same time, at the core of all that is this unbreakable goodness.
Like Superman, one of the things I always found really endearing is he comes from a different planet. He has
Nah,
unlimited
bro.
power, but at the same time,
I
once
think I
he
watched
met
like I watched some jump scares like when I started, and then I watched some like car crash videos and police chases. So I think I'm good on that right now.
Pa Kent, he fell in love with like the family and being a high schooler and learning how to acclimate. And so at the end of the day, they are dealing with the same human and basic problems and conflicts that we have,
I think that's where Zach really tried to tie it all in. It's with Batman vs. Superman. DC fans hated. They were not about it. And it's just like,
Don't worry, we did too.
everyone hated it. Exactly. People were not a fan of it, but it's just like he tried to humanize these characters.
Yeah.
And that was really an important step to take, because with Superman, Batman, they were never shown to have a breaking point or be they showed up as the villain.
Fallible
essentially.
too, yeah.
But also going back to representation and relatability, like, Asian. Not many Asian superheroes, but with Shang Tsung and all these other characters, I would give props to Marvel. And as long as it's not forced, like shoved down people's. That's what I really don't like. But as long as it's not shoved down people's throats and like you're gonna have to digest this, then I'm all for it.
When you guys did bring on Peter Parker and Spider-Man, stuff like that, me being from New York, and so I was just like, I see him and I see me. At the time, I was like, oh, you know what? I want to go to this college too, and I want to go here, and I want to do that. And then like, you know what? Hopefully, do get bit by a spider on the way there. So I'm just like, okay, cool.
I genuinely, as a kid, and like having what I felt like my own superhero backstory was like losing a parent at a young age, being kind of a caretaker to her, my mom, when I was 15, and still losing that person, it rewired in my brain many things, one of which was take care of other people and put yourself second, put everybody else first. 2, never show the crack in that it's actually crippling you trying to be perfect. Because I did always try to say, like, when you see me, you're gonna be like, how does he just fly through life? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought that was healthy, wasn't. And then once I realized that I actually could be vulnerable, I could be broken, and that being broken is more beautiful and makes you more powerful, that sort of opened up the floodgates of finding those things in the DC characters. And I think the writers, especially now in comics, are going that route.
My fan community can be toxic.
Oh yeah, but DC especially, bro. DC is the most toxic out of all verses, bro.
Do you want to talk about a no-brainer question?
I was gonna say, I think we can all agree that every fan community can be toxic.
Even if it's something as simple as, someone's title changing or someone becoming a new hero, you immediately get the people on Twitter just being like, I hate this person. I honestly feel really bad for Brie Larson because she got the brunt of it during that whole Captain Marvel phase. And personally, I liked her. I think she's a great actress. I think
I
she's.
understand what the problem is.
I don't either.
I'm not a big fan of the character, but I was like, this is fun. I don't want to know what
Exactly.
people hate her so
It's like when you dehumanize the actor and treat them as they're only that.
Right.
That's not being a fan.
Yeah.
That's being an ass.
I remember when Black Panther came out, a lot of people refused to see it because they said it's a PC movie.
Exactly.
So it's like there's so much vitriol in different corners. I like to believe it's not most people, but like the loudest voices on social media are like always.
Always.
Yeah,
Always.
exactly.
Because those are the ones that get attention.
Right.
Yeah, even the Black Panther, anything like this is supposed to be a black Superman coming out, and people are gonna be
Yeah,
like, oh yeah,
that.
that's born of the political correctness. But there's been iterations of
Well,
black
also,
Superman.
it's comic books, so why not?
Yeah, it's not only limited to just white people. And
There's a multiverse for a reason.
Yeah, it's multiverse, exactly.
Well, I get toxicity on my end just for being a girl. And like you guys are predominantly, I mean, it's all males.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've never been like directly targeted at, but I definitely do get the sense of like, oh, you're female? You don't know what you're talking about. You have no idea. Oh, you're younger? You have no idea what you're talking about.
I mean, your comments on Spider-Man, those are fucking way off.
I really probably could have came with everybody. I think the only reason why I didn't was because it was prefaced by saying my community. I'm not on Twitter, I'm not on Instagram, and so I'm ignorant to it, I guess is what it is. I had a weird situation. I would be, I guess, more in the jock category growing up in the sense of that was more my reputation, I suppose. But anyone who knew me and any of my friends came over to my house, like when I started dating, like in high school, and the girls came over to my house, I had action figures everywhere. So the jig was up, you know what I mean? And like, this is really who I am and what I'm really about, and I always found I got a great reaction from that. I think if people buy too much into the toxic nature of Marvel versus DC or whatever the movie is and their gripes on it, they're losing a chance to focus on the positive of the character and why they love it.
My side would win in a fight.
I'm going for it. Yeah. Oh, wow, they know too.
They know.
It's good. They know what's up.
They know this place.
I think that's why the conversation is Marvel connects more with like the real person, because DC does feel like titans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to me, comic books are American mythology. I heard that somewhere in a documentary, and it's true. We don't have like an American mythos outside of like Paul Bunyan and like some silly stuff. It's superheroes is really what it is. Yeah. And Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, these like, Atlas holding the world on their shoulders figures, it's like, it's always them. Batman's like plan to defeat everyone is just, I'm Batman. Yeah. And everyone on Earth goes, he's right.
Yeah, get out of the way.
Yeah.
Man, if we're gonna get down to the
Yeah,
brass
true.
of it.
That man Goku is fucking unbeatable, dude. Beat. I wonder why. Why did it say stop posting links? I think Nightbot gotta relax, dude. Dude, it says you've had 3 timeouts. In August, September, and today. What the fuck? DC's ass, Spider-Man, Souls, all of them. Huh? You're saying that he's nah, you cap him, dog. Nah, Spider-Man doesn't soul all. There's no way. Like movies, yeah. Like he's one of the best movies, like movie series at least. Oh, let's see. Yeah, bro. I'm telling you, bro. Spider-Man, he has the best movies overall. For real, for real. He has the best movies overall. But I think like the comics are good. The movies are bad because like they're just starting to like actually like get good directors and stuff like in order to post. Yeah, of course, bro. That's a fact right there. Like literally, all, dude. Especially of Venom. Like when he was Venom, it was like no way. I'll make chat like a little bit